Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. This is our Notes from the Field, Green Adventures, call it a roundtable, but it's a discussion that we are hosting, and I think this is only the third one. So excited to have all of you here. This is a very, very casual conversation. It truly is a conversation at a roundtable of the participants on the most recent adventure with Green Adventures, and this one is Alaska. This one is exciting for me because right before you guys went to Alaska, I was in Alaska for 10 days with Tara and with 50 students. So I experienced some of what you experienced, but I also missed some of what you experienced. So I'm super excited to learn about your adventures and to have you just tell the stories. Um, I'm Tracey Seward, and I am a member of the Green Adventures team. I'm a trip leader. I'm working very closely with Tara Short, the Green Adventures CEO, in a lot of the operations and the strategy parts of Green Adventures. Before that, I was in the corporate world in a consulting firm for almost 30 years. This is my dream job, right? So I'm super excited to put that behind me as well. And to leave the corporate, I would say, pencil skirts and 4-inch heels for my hiking boots. I'm pretty excited about where we are. So this is what gets me very excited. Is to also, because I didn't experience this trip with you, I've done around 8 or 9 of the Green Adventures trips all over the world, and I've traveled a lot. But these are very, very special trips, and I'm sure you'll agree. And I'm just excited to share the stage with you here today. So we've got a handful of the participants. There were definitely many more of the participants that are not able to join us here today. And Cynthia Sherman, I'd love to start with you. You were the trip leader on this one, and maybe just tell us a little bit about the trip. And you're going to feed into this session over the next hour with us as well, but just a little bit of the trip yourself and maybe a highlight.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was given the opportunity to bring these lovely 11 women with us to Alaska. This was my first trip, so I was learning and experiencing right alongside.
Your first trip
Um,
to Alaska, not your first trip with Green Adventures,
oh,
right?
of course, no, no, no,
Yeah.
not my first
Yeah.
trip with Great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
my first trip to Alaska. And man, did we really just form a wonderful bond. Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. Particular picture makes me laugh because we were so prepared for the elements. We were the only people on the deck of the boat, and we had, I don't know, I think we counted, Sarah, would we count 5 layers on each of us? We were like, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. The zippers, I think, on your coat broke. I'm busting at the seams. I couldn't even zip up my pockets. You can see there. But so well worth it. According to the captain, were able gosh, what did we see? 2 pods of whales, both
Yeah.
humpback and orcas. We saw sea lions, sea otters. Um, and this trip, not this trip, but this particular boat trip, wow, highs and lows, because there was at one point where I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it, but then everyone's like, you got to get on the deck of the boat. It's where it's at. And I was like, okay, I'm going. And man, oh man, was it worth it. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. So yeah, it
This
was,
was one of my favorite parts as well, Cynthia. I loved it. And it was cold, and we were with 50 students, and they definitely were not well dressed. I mean, some of them had shorts on, and it was,
oh,
that was absolutely ridiculous. But I saw some of your video and your photos, ladies, and I've got a couple of those in here as well. I didn't have the experience that you had on that boat with the wildlife that you did, so it was super special, and I can't wait to show those photos to the group here. Cynthia, thank you so much.
yeah, of course.
So what I'd love to do is with the ladies that are here with us today, I'd love to just, if you're available and ready to share a moment, I'd love to get one of the top memories of each of you, or multiple memories. I know this spot really well. This is Kayakers Cove. It was one of I loved the photo of all of you. But I'd love to go around the table here and just get one of your top memories. Whoever would love to jump off mute.
I can go.
Sarah.
Yes. So I initially was going to say that one of my top memories was just those on that boat trip because we saw so much wildlife, seeing the breaching of those humpback whales so close to the boat. I had never seen that before, so that was really neat. I think it's hard, and I like how the question is worded. What was one of the top memories? Because I think there are a lot of different ones that pop up throughout the trip. I just with this picture of being with Kayakers Cove, I loved how cute. Like I have videos of the porta potty and hand washing station because they were just so darn cute. I mean, but I just thought
And
the area
you had to
itself.
put the rope on, which I always forgot, right? To say that you were in the porta potty, right?
Yes, I forgot as well a couple times, but that's okay. Yeah, I just really thought the whole thing was pretty magical and kind of a fairy tale like environment. So that was neat. Being able to see all of Denali, which is rare. I think that again, so many different chat memories. So
Thank you, Sarah. Deborah, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with Sarah. I'm glad you said one of, because the whole trip was a top memory. And the picture you saw of us on the boat, that's the most clothes we had on the whole time because the weather was amazing. But I would have to say mine was being in the top 10% of seeing all of Denali on our trip. I believe Sarah got a sticker or a patch that said that, and unfortunately I didn't get one, but our guide had actually told us that she hadn't seen Denali, I for sure not last year and possibly the year before. I mean, she was just like, you guys can't believe how lucky you are. So it was really, because Denali was really a big thing for me. So I'd have to say that was my top memory, was Denali.
Denali. Yeah.
Deborah, if I remember right, she had said that she had, like in her last, I think most recent 4 times of going, she hadn't seen Denali. And
Right.
Tracy, when we were driving in, she was in tears.
Oh,
She was
wow.
in tears.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, and that's, Deborah, when she was like, you guys don't understand how special this is.
And this
I
is
don't see
Cheryl,
Denali
correct?
and I'm here all
Cheryl?
the time. I'm sorry.
Is it
Yes,
Cheryl? Was
Cheryl.
Cheryl?
Cheryl was
Right.
what
So
we were saying.
Cheryl, the local guy, the local Alaskan, is saying this. We couldn't have her here with us today, but that's super special.
I mean, she was in
Yep.
tears.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
incredible. Allison, how about you?
Okay, I mean, that picture of Kayakers Cove was that was a pretty special place. I guess it would have to be the boat trip because it was pretty rough and several of us weren't feeling too well, but the wildlife and just the fact that people got that on video, got the humpback whales breaching and all the tail fins and the orcas. It's just amazing. I've had the best time sharing that with friends. That was fun. And people are not going to understand this one, but the folks that were on there, the treasure cabin, hiding the dollar bills.
I
At
don't know this
Renfro's,
story.
we had this cool
Yeah.
cabin 4, Sarah and Kay's cabin, and the way we worked together, and we got so excited. And anyway, you had to be there. That's just going to be a little secret that if you ever get to Renfro's for cabin 4, you'll figure it out.
Okay, good one.
And
This is like a treasure
Denali,
hunt.
of course, Denali.
You're not aware of
No,
cabin 4? I don't want to ruin it for you, so I guess we'll just have to leave it at that.
I
It's
guess
a
so. I'm gonna
special
have to go
cabin.
back, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I was going to jump ahead, and I think I'm going to because again, it's hard not to jump ahead to this slide in here as well too. So I'm with you on the boat here, and I pulled in. Let's see if it'll work here on the screen share. Whoever took this video, bless your heart, right? This is incredible. You guys had a magical show. I feel like on the boat. So as we just talked about it, I wanted to bring this slide up too because I could feel myself in this place with all of you as you experienced it. It's beautiful. Who stole the show? Did you guys see any of that when you got up into the glacier, into like the toe of it as well too? Could you see any of the breakage to glacier break as you were there? Any of the ice?
I didn't see that. I don't know if any of you.
Yeah.
Well, we're holding a piece of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But one that was, it wasn't one that like.
This
Oh,
was the
that
dive.
was
Yeah. This was
calving.
the
No.
diver or the one of the boat people. Did she do this? Like she swooped it up in a net? Is that what she
Yeah.
did to bring you the ice? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought was incredible. I walked around with the ice as well too. It was so beautiful and so clear. But it was right back in that corner that where the iceberg was, and I can see this, but we just stood there and we just saw at least 2 times, a mountainous just drop of the ice, and the water just splash, which was incredible. But I didn't see the whales like you did, so this is pretty special.
I mean, Tracy, they were everywhere. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was,
Is there
I
a
mean,
reason?
it was
Did
better than 4th of July with fireworks. I mean,
Oh
it was
yeah.
like whale here, whale, and everyone's like, "Did you see that one? Did you capture that one? Did you get that on film? Make sure you put that on photo share."
Yeah. So for the viewers team here, did you get any insight as to why? I mean, was it time of day? Is it season? Is it what did you guys get to see? You had such a magical experience of this, and I was only 2 weeks ahead of you and didn't see this.
Well, the captain
Well,
said that this was his best trip as well.
Yep. Yeah, I don't, they didn't share any reason as to why, because it sounded like he was surprised as well at how much we were seeing
Yeah.
there. And I know one of the people working on the boat too was asking, "Hey, can you airdrop that video, or can you do this? I haven't seen them breaching that close to the boat ever either." And so I just think
It
we
was
were
it was
lucky.
your trip. It was a magical trip for you guys.
the captain was repeatedly astounded. We got the biggest kick out of the captain. He was like, I can't believe it. Look over there. I can't believe it. It's another one. I mean,
That's awesome.
didn't we, you guys? We just laughed at him because he was as excited as we
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
for us.
I could hear it in your voices on these videos. I don't have the audio and I don't know if it will play. But I could hear it even in, let's try it. Let's just try it and see. Can you hear it? No? Yeah. But I could hear it in everyone's voices, the oohs and the ahs. It seriously was like the 4th of July fireworks on steroids. But so I found it to be just incredible myself as a viewer of your photos. And then the otters, I thought that was actually, and you guys saw them, it looks like, but it was a school of them that I remember seeing. Is that what you saw? Just the floating on their backs and yeah.
Yeah, we saw several and they are really cute, even though they've got big teeth.
Don't let them fool you, right? Yeah, they are really cute. So let me take
I don't think
yeah.
we saw a large group. I mean,
Mm.
I remember taking this picture actually, just pairs here and there. I shouldn't say just because that was just precious, but
Ah,
I didn't see, and I'm trying to think of the collective noun for sea otter right off the top of my head. I can't think of it, but a bunch. I don't know.
yeah.
We didn't see a whole school of them, but rather
They are
just
incredible. And we did it. It was a couple schools. And so maybe there's something, maybe that was our surprise versus the whales. But, they're in a group and they just roll. They just roll like they're tumbling as they float along, and they end up on their backs. And it's just like you see on TV, but it was incredibly special. Let's thank you for re-experiencing the boat. Let's take a step back. I think on all of the Green Adventures trips, I know I have my own defining moments. And there are moments for me that, boy, this is magical. I'm at the top of whatever. I'm, Kayakers Cove looking out at Denali. I did this and I never thought I could do this. And this is my question, right? If there is a moment for each of you that you could think about, a defining moment, maybe an aha moment or just a splendor moment.
I'll go.
Yeah,
The first
Allison.
time we saw Denali, when you go around the corner and we got out and you're looking mountains, okay, so there's mountains and those are white clouds, and you realize No, those are not white clouds. That is the white mountain, the high one, the great one, Denali. I mean, how can you not be awestruck and just amazing? I mean, it kind of brought tears to my eyes too, because I'd been on a trip with my mom 20 years before and we had seen it. And how blessed am I that I got to see it twice. So that's
It's wonderful.
just beautiful creation.
Anybody else have a moment, a defining moment?
I can't think of
Yeah.
one, because there were so many. It was just so amazing. It was like, was it sitting here on this rock in Kayakers Cove? Was it like Allison said? And we ski every year and we're in the Rockies and we've been up to Whistler, and still seeing Denali was just took the cake.
Yeah.
So I can't pick one. It was just everything we did beat or exceeded my expectations of what it was going to be like.
Deborah, could you even what about even you're a hiker, it sounds like as well too, but what about even the hike, right? Is there a moment of, or anybody here, right, as well too, but is there something, even where, wow, you know, I didn't know that I could do that personally, or, is there anything even like that pops up for anybody?
Well,
I
for
didn't get
me,
to hike your
oh,
hike, which I'm so excited about going back to do that, but I'm just
yeah.
curious.
Well, for me, I didn't realize I had COVID. And
Ah,
so when
yeah.
we were doing the Harding Field, ice field, I could hardly make it. I made
Yeah.
it up to the meadows, Marmont Meadows. And if it wasn't for Kathy, I don't know if I would have even made it that far, because she was very encouraging. And then I had to stay. I
Yeah.
couldn't, I couldn't breathe. I didn't know why. I mean, I kept looking at everybody. What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Well, I had COVID, but I didn't
You
know at
didn't
the
know
time,
at the
of
time.
course.
Yeah.
But I stayed, and Cheryl trusted me. I had to promise to be a good girl and stay there and not go adventuring
Yeah.
off. And Cynthia, I hear you laughing because I tend to be a rebel, but
No,
I
no,
promised.
I love that you said I was gonna be a good girl and I
I
promised I wasn't
was.
gonna go anywhere.
I wasn't going to go do anything. And I stayed there while the rest of the group continued up. And it was an amazing time for me being
Yeah.
at Marmont Meadows alone, but with people from all over the world. I mean, what did I tell you guys? I met people from like 5 different countries. I was photographer extraordinaire. Oh, let me take that picture for you. You don't have to take a selfie. I can do it. And it was a really great moment for me to be able to admit that I couldn't do it,
That's what
even
I
though
was
I
going to
couldn't
say.
figure
I
out
can
why.
tell this about you already, Deborah. I'm glad you said it, because again, this is a defining moment, because I think I'm probably someone similar where I'm like, let's just keep pushing, let's just keep going. You listen to your body, you listen to your heart and your soul, and along with that, then you met a whole bunch of beautiful people that you may not have met if you had you even pushed yourself on.
Right.
Yeah. I think this is the important part, and for those of us who've done trips in the past, or thinking about doing a trip as well too, is there we will accommodate. We will accommodate no matter what happens on the trip.
That's right.
And there is no pushing you beyond a limit that you're not comfortable with. That is just very much core to the Green Adventures mission and vision. So I'm glad you said that.
It was wonderful.
Any other moments, ahas? Cynthia, anything for you? That was your first time to Alaska.
It was, but interestingly, I the defining moment I think, or moments were just sitting around and either playing games or talking with one another. I felt like just I could add on 11 more great friends that I feel like I
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
reach out to, connect to. Yeah, no, I mean, yes, Alaska was amazing, but with that, what made it amazing, I think, was the companionship, right? They always talk about the journey, but what
Yeah.
about the companionship, right? The people. And you know, I just I look at the picture of us eating and I can feel the personality of each person just by looking at their face, right? And that to me, like our group, what what an amazing group of women
Yeah.
that we had with us. So not one particular moment, but rather when I see us gathered, I know that, you know, I could almost feel like, for example, you know, Kathy's telling a story there where, or, you know, like I could just feel like that there were so many just different memories and yeah, no. So yes, okay, like I said, Alaska was amazing, but the relationships I think that we built um,
Yeah.
were equally awesome.
Yeah, I agree. The companionship was great. I also, another part, I just love being out in nature and we had so many great views. So I think as we're walking or hiking and as the boat turns another corner, just taking in all the beautiful landscape and how things are so different. You know, we saw a lot of variety while we were there, and just I like being out and in that element, and that's kind of my happy place
Yeah.
too. So that's not necessarily one moment, but just remembering to enjoy nature and what's
Yeah. Sarah, I love that. These are the trips for people like you and for others that are thinking about the trips. I'm the same as you, and I think for me, what every trip teaches me, and I feel and I can feel it. I can feel this in your photos as well. Is it really teaches me to continue to be present, and you know, I'm definitely one of those achievers and go-getters, and you know, finished this initiative or this project and on to the next. You, this isn't what happens when you're on these trips. And it is about, the relationships and just feeling and being and what comes to you. And it's incredibly special. And that's probably one of my defining moments. And Sarah, I think you're touching on something similar. Everyone is here. They're very special. Okay, well, what is this story? I couldn't help but add this in here and the boots. And there's a video definitely that I found as well too. And I'm like, what is going on here? I can imagine. But I'd love to know the story.
Oh, I only wish Laura was here to share it with us.
And I thought we were gonna have her. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, you know what's funny is she had asked, she said, Cynthia, I've had these boots for a while. Now, a while, she didn't define a while. A couple of years is what I'm thinking. But a while, she wore them in college 25 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
So she said, I'd had these boots for a while. She sent me the tread, right? So she flipped them upside down. She said, do you think they'll be okay? And I said, yeah, they still have some tread in them. They should be fine. Well, she did one hike. I don't know if it was the Triple Lakes hike. She did one hike in them, and the rubber that connected the sole to the shoe deteriorated during that hike. So she
Oh,
still had
wow.
the tread, but all of the adhesive and everything
Blue.
else
Yeah.
done. Um, and she, you know, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but she was a bit nervous about hiking to begin with. And then the added anxiety of not having the appropriate, boots to be able to accomplish such a task. So with that, Kathy, which, oh my gosh, Kathy had some paracord. I mean, she was a Rolodex of what do you need? I got it. What do you, any first aid, anything. What do anyway, she had some paracord. And amongst the two of them, tied like you would tie snowshoes on, in the maybe
Right.
1500s, tie snowshoes onto your leather.
That's a
They were,
photo I didn't find. So that's somewhere, I'm sure, but I didn't see that one. So I can imagine that.
well, you can see on the left you see her shoelaces, which are yellow.
Oh,
The
yeah.
paracord is
Is
actually
around the
tied
back.
pretty tightly. No, look on the well, maybe a little on the back, but on the on the toe of the boot.
Okay, right. Ugh, yeah.
So
Okay,
they
yeah.
so
Did
they
she make
paired
it?
yeah, well, yeah, she did. And that was after the Harding Ice Trail. And as you can see, there was victory. The Boots
Yeah.
had a photo
Yeah.
session like they were senior pictures. And
And then they go into the trash, right?
she was also very happy because she was not going to use them again.
Yeah.
And to not have to pack them or to not have to bring them home. So she
Yeah.
was also very happy to retire them.
That's a good story. I saw there was a video, Cynthia. I don't know if it was on your phone or whose phone it was, but there was somebody doing some magical spell. I
Oh
think it was
yeah,
you, right?
yeah,
And
we
it probably, I
definitely
was
were trying to
imagining these boots
throw
must stay together, right, to get through this trip. I know.
tried to throw good energy into the universe for
Yeah,
those kids.
yeah, yeah.
And they
Thank you.
worked. So
So it's interesting that you guys have already started to talk about my next question that I had on my mind, because again, the camaraderie for me, camaraderie is exactly what I always take away from these trips. There's memories, and then there's memories even that you maybe forget about till you look at the photo, but it's the relationships and the people and the experiences and the moments with someone that I know that I always take away on every single trip that I've been on. And these photos, ladies, were spectacular, and I'm sure there's so many more. But these are just spectacular of you on the water. And so I couldn't resist but to pull them in here, and imagining as well, even in this experience, that you're clearly working together to get through this journey. Um, I could only imagine what was going on and what was being said and what was going on in your mind. But just the question here of how did camaraderie enhance your experience?
Well, I can go first because we were standing on shore, and the gentleman in the boat I wasn't in, but the guy in the green on the
Yeah.
left has to go through this whole rigmarole about how to be safe. And as he was going on, now I am from Minnesota. I swim like a fish. I'm not afraid of water. But the more he talked and told us about what can happen and getting sucked under and going, and I
Yeah.
just turned around and I looked at Cynthia and I'm like, I need to be with you. I need to be in your
Yeah.
boat. I'm really close to having an anxiety attack. And she's like, and Cynthia just put her arm on my shoulder and she's like, yeah, you'll go with me. And she kind of, took me under her wing, and you could see we're in the boat, the other boat on the right, and Cynthia is the last person on the left, and I am
Left.
right in front of her. Right there, she kept me close at hand, and within 3 minutes of being in that boat, I was like, I forgot all about anxiety.
yeah.
You were like,
You turned around,
Right?
you turned around, and you're like, this is so much fun.
Yeah, I know. I was like, but I don't know. I was seriously thinking about not getting in that boat, listening to him, because he really used huge fear factor to try to keep us safe. And it worked the opposite on me. But we had our fearless leader. I did Cynthia. And because of her camaraderie and her taking care of me, it was an amazing experience. Very fun.
yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That is their job to do that for us, unfortunately or fortunately, right? Is to say basically, don't do, and this is what could happen, and it usually doesn't, right? Things do not happen, but they have to say it. So,
Right.
So
Sarah,
I think what was so neat about our trip is that all the women on the trip had such different personalities or different things that they brought with them. And so I think we all complemented each other very nicely. And it was really, I think, worked well as a group. There weren't a lot of different like personality conflicts or people competing for spotlights of different things. It really helped enhance the whole experience because everyone just seemed to complement one another and support one another. And so that part was great, because you never know when you get a big group of women together. I mean,
Yeah.
usually if you're going
Yeah.
for a trip and it's voluntary, that's a little different. But yeah, I think that it helped enhance the experience overall of the whole Alaskan trip.
There's
Like what
something
Cynthia
about
said.
almost a team or a community, Sarah, that comes together and they're, this is what, even traveling solo is about and it does work. So thank you for sharing that. That's actually a really good one because nobody's the same and everybody is different. And with a group of women, you will get different personalities and it sounds like everyone came together
Well, and I
as,
think, yes, lots of different personalities, but lots of different skill levels.
mm,
So when I think about, like our kayak, Chris, Chris kayaks all the time. She's like, let's go for the big ones. But never was anyone a showboat, right? And I think, Sarah, is that what you were meaning? Like, if someone had
mm.
an expertise, it was more of turn around and try to help as many people who were, reaching out of their comfort level. Um, the dynamics were just amazing.
There's a little bit about maybe ego gets set aside or the humbleness that comes in and it's when it works. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's helpful. Thank you.
And all I have to add is that people were very positive. We giggled a lot. We laughed a lot. People helped each other out. It was just, even when you're tired and we're starting to get sick at the end, we didn't know. And people that weren't feeling well were just hanging in and just doing well. And it's such a great experience. Yes,
Yeah.
the people made
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
Wait, but time out for 1 second. Tracy, did you happen to notice in the pictures how wherever we went, I felt like we drew people in? So for example, I'm thinking of whether we were at dinner. Well, actually, both times we were at dinner, I felt like people were joining in on us. One,
And you're talking about not participants, right? So randoms
yes,
from,
yeah,
yeah,
I just think our energy
yeah,
was so good
yeah,
that people wanted
yeah,
to be a part of us. Like
yeah.
they just wanted to
Who are
join
you and what are you doing? I want to be part of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. There was one particular evening we were having pizza, and I don't know if you saw the pictures. There was a birthday celebrant. She saw a group of us ladies and was sharing. She actually was the mother of Miss Alaska from
Wow.
2018. So my goodness, it was just, we just brought people. It was a
Yeah.
magnet. I really do feel like the energy was positive and people wanted to know what we were about, what we were doing, where we were traveling, where we were going, and why we were doing it.
That's the energy of the unit, by the way. So it's not any one person. That's the energy of the unit that I think you're describing, which is just beautiful. Yeah. So this was when I was at Harding Ice Field, this is when and the Glacier Toe. I've been to Iceland myself a couple of different times and I've seen the glaciers, but this was just eye-opening for me, which brought me to this question. And it doesn't have to be about the glaciers at all, but it's this definitely seeing the glaciers and the way that they defined by year, when things started to recede and you could just visually see it. It just blew my mind. And this is what drew me to this question, because to me, that was my wow. And it isn't that much time when you would see, and I think one of the signs was 2015, maybe. I can't remember. And I was like, this isn't possible. It is possible. And so I think for me, that was, as I ask you this question, what lessons from the tour deepened your understanding of environmental stewardship? This isn't intended to be political or anything at all, but to me, it was just like, this is really real. And if anyone doubted it, I love the way that they're showcasing this for us in Alaska. I don't know, how much longer will it be there? So I'd love to just get your reflection, and it doesn't again have to be about this hike, but just out of curiosity, what lessons did you have?
Tracy, I don't know if you're aware that I don't know the exact number of days, but a couple of days after we left Denali, they closed it down.
Oh no.
There was forest fire that started
Mm.
towards the front of the park. I want to say like towards the visitor center area. And they closed the park down. And um, while we were there, the last let's see, so we were there for 3 days. The last 2 days, we started to see forest fire smoke from Fairbanks, Alaska. So we were very lucky to see Denali on that first day because
Mhm.
the smoke started to come in. And then when we had left, I didn't actually find out until I think it was Sarah's mom, Kay, that had seen an article. And then Deborah, you followed it up and you had sent some information about it as well. But with that, I think the lesson that I don't say lessons, it's just a reminder of how much we take
Yeah.
for granted,
Yeah.
how potentially careless I think humans can be when they're not intentional about what they do and to care for the environment. We had we had a don't know what her official, we had someone at camp that was making sure that we weren't putting tents on the vegetation. And while, moss lays and softly and would make a nice place for a bed, it also makes sense as to why we shouldn't be putting tents on the vegetation because goodness knows we're one of a million people who are going to want to do the same thing day in and day out, right? And then next thing you know, that moss is no longer there.
It's gone.
So
Yeah.
I think Allison.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's just about being intentional and understanding that every action has a reaction.
Intentional and mindful. That's very good. Yeah. Anything else from the rest of the ladies?
Well, like you had said, Tracy, seeing the signs of the years and how it had regressed and we kept losing it. It was
Yeah.
moving back, so to speak. And I'm a lifetime national parks member, but one of the lessons I took from this was seeing how much the people in Alaska truly love their state and everything about it. And Cheryl, even though she wasn't born there, she's been there like her whole adult life practically. Her love for that state and for everything about it, it just really helped me. And like Cynthia said, with the fires, I just like cried. And of course I was sick. So I was telling my husband, it's burning, it's burning. And I just couldn't quit crying because we had literally been there less than a week before. So I guess my understanding of environmental stewardship is I have to just keep supporting it and do whatever I can, because even the smallest amount of whatever we can do as individuals will, as a collective, make a
That's
difference.
perfect. That's exactly right. Yeah. I just remember leaving it and I just remember thinking, I didn't want to leave it.
Right.
I didn't want to leave it because I just was like, what will it be like the next time I'm here? And so Cynthia, I just am thinking about your point of just taking anything for granted, but also the moment of being very present with every step that I took in this environment, because it just, what will it be like the next time? And yeah. I'm laughing a little bit. I was just thinking about one of I was with the 50 students, which was actually a different trip than you guys took. And I just remember something came to me, and I don't know if one of these pictures made me think about it, but the students that would, were in the woods on some of the hikes, and the students would leave their backpacks full of snacks sitting by a tree, and I'm like, oh, no, you can't leave your backpack sitting beside a tree. This is about, making sure this environment, is full of bears, by the way, and we want to get out of here safely as well. So, but this was a special hike for me as well. You guys have told me so much about Denali here. It's fortuitous that I actually put this question in these photos in here. It was incredible. It seems like for most of you. I don't even know if there's anything you haven't shared. What was memorable on this hike? There's anything you haven't shared? Any moments?
This was kind of goes along with the environmental stewardship. I was shocked. I don't know if you noticed, Tracy, all of the dead spruce
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
the spruce beetle.
Yeah.
And, just that kind of stuck in my head.
Yeah.
And then with all the forest fires, I can't even imagine how it's just burning through
Yeah.
all of that. So I don't want to say memorable in a negative way, but just a shock and awe
Yeah.
factor of how one species makes a difference. The impact again, the impact on others, the ecological, just the whole big picture of it all.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm starting to wind us down a little bit here too. And this, this is an important question. Like again, I still got the Kayakers Cove in here as well too. This was one of my favorite pieces and parts of Alaska as well too. But just as we think about women, you guys you've ventured through this one and you made it through this one with lots of great memories to keep forever and good friends hopefully that you'll also have forever. But now as we think about others that may even be watching this as we move forward, and or even if we take some of this advice that you might have about women who are pondering, to take the Alaska trip and go on the Alaska trip. You've given me lots of lessons, but lessons, advice might you give others who are
Allison,
considering this trip?
Allison, if I can invite you to start us with this one. You've done 10 different green
Ah,
adventure trips at this point, right? And I feel like there's some expertise that you have more so
hmm.
over the rest of us. Were there any, and I also am looking the picture to the left, bottom left here of you taking, look at you. You're a beast woman on that kayak. I love it. I
Ah.
love it. So yeah, I mean, if you wouldn't mind, I'm a little bit curious of any words of advice or with all of the green adventure trips that you've been on in your experience, if there's anything that you think would be great advice for others.
They're all a wow. I think this was my 11th. And I
Wow.
first of all would say, do it. Do it. Go. The people you meet, the places you go. And my feeling, we talked about conservation in Alaska. My feeling looking at the state is thank goodness people have not ruined the whole country. I mean, there's still places that are natural and are beautiful. They're struggling, but it could be so much worse. The variety on this trip was really amazing. I mean, I have kayaked quite a bit and snorkeled, but I would say my one piece of advice for the camping is bring a little sleeping pad. I would say that would help tremendously. Bring a little, if you've got a little blow up mattress or something. I have a little cot that I could have brought, but I decided to go for the box wine. Oh, well, that was my bad.
That's good. That's good. That's funny. There's a story in here I can tell you. How about Allison and maybe the others? And then I want to come back to this question as well too. But the sleeping pad, I wrote it down because I think that's really important, and I would completely agree with you. How about earplugs? Were those necessary? Were there snorers in the group?
No,
Oh, wow, good. Yeah.
but eye masks
Eye
are
mask. Right, right.
because it's
It's
still the
daylight.
sun is up in the sky at 11:30 p.m.
Yeah.
It's like an eye masks are an absolute must.
Yeah. I remember waking up at 11:30 midnight, Deborah, and I was in a yurt, and there was a like a sunroof in the yurt, and I'm like, I gotta take a picture of this. It's midnight, and it's still like shining on me. So that's good advice. We'll have that on the
Um,
packing list for sure. Yeah,
so
Cynthia.
we had a participant with earplugs in, and her alarm went off in the
Oh,
morning.
You didn't hear it?
Well, not only did she not hear it, but it went off like, I don't know, 3, 4 times. And I thought to myself, okay, Cynthia, this is your job. This is where, if there's conflict or if this is where you need to step in. But not even conflict. The conflict could be, is she okay? Like, why isn't
Yeah.
she getting her alarm? Is there something wrong? So, or if she's in the bathroom, then I need to go into her tent and turn off her alarm. So anyway, I'm laughing because she had her earplugs in and she was actually my roomie. So we both just, she said that she wears earplugs even at home and, so we had our earplugs in when
Yeah.
we were in our rooms. And, so she's in the tent. I hear the alarm and I start wiggling the tent and I can tell by the heft of the tent that she's in there. And I'm kind of like Diana, shake, 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 shake. Diana, shake, 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 shake. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And thank goodness Sarah's mother was leaving her tent. She's a retired pediatrician. And also good friends with Diana. And I had asked, I said, Kay, can you please come over here? Because I thought something could actually be
Yeah.
wrong. Because now it's not a matter of her not hearing me. I'm lifting up her tent and shaking it. And I'm like, there's nothing going on. Anyway, so Kay goes into the tent, checks for, I don't know if she actually checked for pulse. We kind of joked around about that. She was okay. She was just
She
sleeping.
was
very
out.
well.
Oh my
She
gosh.
was, yeah, she was out. So that's why I laugh. When you say earplugs, that was the first thought that I had that had come to mind, where as a trip leader, all of the like, this isn't in the protocol. Like, what do you do when a participant doesn't wake up? Oh gosh, yeah.
There's
I was
also
looking
something
at that.
about, so I was laughing because I think I would have known by now if something terrible had happened. So I figured this was somebody who was very much asleep, but there's also something about when they've got the earplugs in. I've been on these trips where the alarm goes off and it goes off an hour before before I want to wake up or anyone wants to wake up, and it's still going off. And it's like, now we're all up. Yeah.
Thankfully, the music was peaceful. Everyone thought it was, beautiful as we heard it for the
Awesome.
6th, 7th,
Yeah,
8th
that's
time.
good. It
And
wasn't
yeah, I think it was an hour
reverie
before
or
actual wake
something
up.
like,
So
yeah, right.
you weren't wrong. You weren't wrong about the time either.
Oh, right.
Love you, Diana. If you see this later.
Anything else? And Allison, thank you so much. It was actually one of the questions I was going to ask is, even how it would be different, how trips were different. I didn't realize you'd had so many trips under your belt, but how this one was different. And you did exactly, you gave a little bit of that feedback as well, too. Any other lessons or advice from anyone as we close here?
Well, I would just say follow the packing list.
Oh,
And as much of a rebel as I am, I followed it to a T.
yeah.
And it was perfect. I didn't overpack. I had one pair of pants I didn't wear, but I threw those in just because I thought I could squeeze them in. And any advice I could give to anybody, like Allison said, this trip far exceeded my expectations. This trip is done at such a high level. We didn't even talk about the food. And
Oh,
Cheryl, I mean,
yeah.
the food was on. I mean, we were eating curry and salmon and smoked salmon and cheese and
Yeah.
fresh salads. And it was anybody who's even thinking, I'm already thinking about the next trip. So
Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you for bringing the
it's
food up too. We
incredible.
didn't get into that, Deborah. So, because the food is usually quite incredible. So I'm glad you
Oh,
highlighted that, and fresh, and yeah,
amazing.
I'm still hearing the advice, just do it. Just do it. Yeah.
Do it.
Sarah,
The
anything
trips
from
are
you? Oh,
The
Allison.
trips are so organized. I mean, I don't like to plan things. So people say, what are we doing tomorrow? I said, I don't know. It'll be fun. Let's concentrate on today.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
And what do we do? What do we do when we have questions? Wait for dinner.
Yeah.
Wait for dinner.
We'll talk about that
I
as a
want
group,
to,
right?
Deborah, I
Yeah.
remember you saying, I have questions, but I'm going to wait for dinner.
Yeah. And we didn't even talk about dinner either. Those are typically very special moments as well, too, where we are all together and celebrating and maybe complaining if we're tired or our feet hurt or whatever. But those are also special moments.
I'll tell you, Tracy, not one complaint. Really.
Yeah.
We were with such a blessed, really, to have such a positive
Beautiful.
group and for us to, I felt like everything was timed perfectly. And I mean that. It was like the Alaska gods were like, they want to see Denali?
Yeah,
Okay,
and you
well,
got it.
you
Yeah.
got it, right. Or, oh, you want to see whales? How about sea lions? Oh, special treat. We're gonna sprinkle in some, it was like
Several of them.
sprinkle in some sea otters.
Yeah.
You know,
And the
Sarah
only
and
day
I
it
sea kayak.
rained, I
Oh, I'm
think, was
sorry,
our
Allison, go ahead.
last day. It's like Alaska didn't want us to leave. It rained a little on our last day. It's like, really? You got to go home?
That's true. That's right. Sarah and I sea kayaked, and I had never I've kayaked before, but never had sea kayaked. And so what I loved was Sarah's like, do you want to have that experience? Do you want to learn? She's like, go ahead, you can have that experience in the back. She's like, or I could do it if you don't want to do it. But I'll tell you, Sarah, that was awesome. I loved, like, you and I, we were a good team. We just every nook and cranny we explored. We were able to see all the different kinds of sea
So the
stars.
yeah, sea stars.
Yeah, I loved,
Yeah.
like, you didn't seem, and I'm gonna say you weren't bothered because I think you were in the same mindset. I was just like, oh, what do you think about this? And oh, could we check it? Because you were equally like, I don't know, let's go see. I wonder if they're the same
That's awesome.
species. I don't know. It was
Curious.
pretty,
You were
oh yeah,
curious mindset.
absolutely. But I mean, even it's even what do I want to say? So advice for anyone, try, like, do it, but try something new because you got nothing to lose, right?
Right.
Beautiful. The packing list, I'm always going to be a fan of the packing list. Deborah, I think you said that as well too. There's a lot of thought that goes into that packing list, and that packing list is reviewed after every single trip as well. And did we need, and should we add, is it optional? But those packing lists are, gosh, I always have them printed. And by the way, there's two of them sitting beside me right now for Peru. So they're spot on. So I'm glad that you said that as well.
Yes.
Follow the packing list.
And you don't really need a headlight because even at 2 a.m. it never got dark, but you can bring
That's a
them. It
great
doesn't
point
take out
for
much
Alaska.
room.
And I thought about this and I'm like, did I get up at Kayakers Cove to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night? I didn't. Like when it finally got dark for the one, couple of hours, I didn't. That would have been about the only time, but great point. It's only a crazy dream until you do it or you achieve it. And you guys did it. So thank you so very much for it was a reunion as much for you as it was capturing just the goodness and reliving, and for me personally, reliving some of the things that I did see or some of the things that I didn't see. And I can't personally wait to go back myself. So I thank each and every one of you for taking time today. And I can't wait to see you on another adventure. Allison, I don't know, what would that be? 12, did you say?
I think so. I'm ready. I can't decide what to do.